What do you mean, I'll leave?
I mean, you talk first and I'll say yes. I'll be very agreeable.
All right. Allow me to start. Good evening.
Good evening, red braces.
Oh, good.
Good. A bit old-fashioned, aren't they?
Shut up.
Oh, you look like Santa Claus.
Oh, be quiet.
Oh, black shirt and red braces.
Now, listen to me. Is that all you're going to talk about? Is that the only work that you've done on this program?
No, well, give me a chance. I've only just said hello.
Well, you've been in here half an hour.
Well, you are you are aware, of course, they're talking about S plates for seniors like myself on the road.
Boring.
No, I'm going a step further. I've got something original to suggest. What about everyone or anyone who's ever been convicted of drink driving or driving under the influence of substance, like drugs? I think they should have a red D for drink or drugs on their car forever. What do you think about that? It would shame people into perhaps towing the line and not breaking the law. In other words, if you are picked up by a booze bus and you're over .05 and you're convicted, and the same for drugs, worse probably for drugs, I think for the rest of your driving days there should be a D card on your car, front and back. How do you feel about that? Do you think it would have some impact, Bruce?
I suppose. Well, I suppose it would. It would work against you as far as other motorists and drivers and pedestrians are concerned,
That's
because
it.
It would point you up as being an offender, somebody who can't be trusted.
Well, you'd steer clear of them, wouldn't you? Absolutely.
But isn't that a bit like a conviction? Isn't it a bit like a jail against your name?
Well, yes, it is. I suppose it's a strike against you, like a sex offender. But by golly, it might make you think twice before you imbibe, before you get behind the wheel.
This is nice. 2015 Australian Commercial Radio Awards, a finalist, Best On-Air Team, Metro AM. 3AW Nightline, remember when Bruce Mansfield, Philip Brady, 3AW Melbourne.
Very nice. Are there two copies or just one?
No.
Oh, well, I might photocopy that. It's worth framing.
What, you won't photocopy?
I'd like to show it to Oro and tweet
That
it.
looks lousy. If you photocopy something like that, you may as well paint it.
Yeah, so well done. It was nice to be a finalist. We're up against some stiff competition.
Yes, but mate, you could just about say commercial radio's a finalist. We're going to select 2 winners, but 800 of you are finalists.
Well, still, that's flattering to be included.
What?
You always take for granted that Michael Cole from Mod Squad told us that we were legends in Hollywood.
He wouldn't know what a legend was. He was half stung when he said it. He wouldn't know where he was.
Well, I took it to heart.
Oh, yes, you would.
Okay, so how do you feel, folks, about D for drunk, D for drugs on your car window?
All right. Now, in the paper today, in The Age, workers crave attention and feedback from their managers, whether good or bad.
Yes.
Well, forever and a day, you're not going to get this. I mean, they say in this article, the biggest challenges for management today is that most managers don't have the time to spend with their people in order to truly understand how to get the most out of them. As a result, employees start to feel unloved and unappreciated. What a lot of garbage.
Oh, absolutely. You're paid to do a job. Get on with it.
Goodness me, grow up.
Gee, if I was waiting for a phone call from management congratulating me on something, I'd wait forever.
When I was at AK, I'd rush out to the control room at 4 o'clock and say, how'd I go? And they said, what are you doing? I said, I've just finished a 4-hour shift. Oh, are you working here now?
They're probably watching World Series cricket on TV.
Well, they were.
I know.
And they didn't know who I was from a bar of soap.
No, most people don't. Until you tell them.
But maybe there is. And that's... you know, I get from my grandchildren, they get bullied at school.
Yeah, and all children do.
You're this or you're that. We don't want. You're not our friend anymore.
Yes.
I said, if I took that to heart for every person I've worked with through radio and television, I'd be throwing myself off the TNG building in Collins.
Well, you would, because, and the indicator is when you walk on the stairs and people are talking animatedly and they stop talking, you know they're talking about you.
And then you feel, what were you saying? Is it about me?
Yes, and you just hear odd words like swine, and just odd words here and there.
That's right.
But, you know, the way to be a success at work is don't be waiting for flattery and slaps on the back. The secret is keep away from management. Don't make contact with them. Just get on with the job.
Do you know when I was a case... I'm not going to say when I was a case. It was 50-odd years ago.
Tell me.
You'd come off here and say, would management have heard that tonight? Well, we don't know. They're down at 64 Elizabeth Street. We're in the Trades Hall. That's where the station is.
Yes.
Would they have heard the show? We don't know. And you were waiting for feedback, and it was never there.
No, don't
and you
expect
never. And the adage is, if they're not going to criticise you, shut up.
Yes, if they're leaving you alone, you're doing the right thing.
That's right.
Absolutely. And you're getting well paid for what you do.
So what you try and get through to kids today, my grandchildren, don't worry about what they say. Just say to them, I don't like the way you're talking. I'll see you when you're ready to be a friend.
I think
and
you're right.
walk away from it. Don't wait to be hurt.
I don't know even if management here would know I'm on the roster. I keep a very low profile deliberately.
Well,
I keep out of their way.
Well, mate, I don't blame you, because that's kept you in employment for 25 long years.
It's worked, hasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah, it has.
yes. They think Russ Sefton's on there at night.
Oh, by the way, ratings tomorrow. Good luck to everybody on the
good on you.
station.
Oh, yeah, make me feel ill.
Okay, well.
Yeah, well, there's salt in the wound.
Yes, well, big boy, when you were away for 8 weeks, how come the ratings went up 25%?
Oh, well, it's good on you.
Yeah,
Well, why?
explain that.
Were you
Explain.
flung?
Excuse
I
me?
bet you were off air.
25%, buddy. You've got something to live up to tomorrow.
Oh, rubbish.
I'm sorry, I can't take all the credit.
Oh, wait for the morning, matey. Oh, I'll be round with the cock crowing.
Wait for that phone call.
Don't you worry about that.
Hey, what about some phone calls? 96900 693.
We go to Cameron at Berwick? Yes!
Oh, hello, boss and Philip. How's it going?
Good to hear your voice, Cameron.
Yes. Is it the Ray Awards you're talking about coming up, or what do you talk? What awards are we?
No, these days they're called the Commercial Radio Awards, and they were held on the Gold Coast last month.
Oh, okay.
And in our category, Best On Air Presenters in Australia, that category was won by Ross and John.
Oh, okay.
And deservedly so, but we were finalists.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So they've changed the name. They used to be the Ray Awards.
They were, yes.
Yeah, so you have to wait till next year for the... Is that right?
Yes, we'll have another chance in 12 months.
All right. Just a couple of questions. First, well, somebody out there might be listening, and I have trouble with Channel 9. Now, there's going to be 6 channels when the Channel 9 is going to introduce the 9 Life, the lifestyle channel. Not that I'm going to watch lifestyle programs anyway, but I don't get Channel 9. I get... you know, Boss, when the TV sort of goes a little bit... You get the... with the digital, you get the...
Pixelated.
The flickering sort of thing, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I'm just sort of wondering, rather than just getting the antenna extended, whether I just go satellite and just say... Because, if you don't... If you don't get very good reception of certain channels, you're entitled to get a satellite dish installed.
I have a word about it, yeah.
You know what I'd do? I don't know where you bought your TV, maybe Harvey Norman. I'd go back to them and discuss your problem with whoever you bought the set from, Cameron.
Yeah, well, I'm sort of thinking of contacting a satellite provider, satellite installer, and see if that option is available. Another thing, boys, is that I don't know if anyone out there might know. I'm in the southeast, outer southeast, and there used to be a place that would sell the... I'm thinking of getting the motorised scooters because I can't drive. I don't have good enough eyesight.
Yes.
A driver's licence. I'm thinking, well, I'll need a motorised scooter to carry all the shopping that I get on... because I only get to go shopping once a month at the moment, get someone to help me.
Yes.
And I'll need a motorised scooter to just get small things. The shop in Hallam is closed. Is there anywhere in the southeastern suburbs somebody might know, because there's obviously going to be listeners who have motorised.
All right. Well, let's put the plea out. Anyone that knows where a motorised scooter in that area of Berwick and where Cranbourne,
Hallam, perhaps.
Hallam, all out that way.
Dandenong and beyond.
You might know an address for a motorised scooter to help Cameron out.
Druin, perhaps.
All right. Appreciate that. 10:16.
When my turn comes, I hope you'll visit occasionally with flowers and shed a tear and think, the old fellow wasn't so bad after all. I miss him.
Why? Why?
Well, it's whatever's in your heart, buddy. I can't tell you to be compassionate.
Well, I mean, I'm very compassionate. I'm very caring. And I'm sure there'll be guided tours around that around that granite blob.
Oh, no, I don't expect a big sender.
No, you're not going to get one. 10:20. Here he is, us in the leotards. It's Peter Hitchener.
I'd love to join that. Mind you, it's going to be 70 or 80 years' time before those guided tours, but I think it could be quite good fun. Oh, there's a picture of Tweety up there. Isn't it gorgeous?
Well, you would know, Phil, and you would probably know, Peter, that in Hollywood there are guided tours, aren't there, of homes and cemeteries.
Very much so.
Yes, and I think in Paris there is too, because I remember that Jim Morrison of The Doors passed away, and he's buried in one of the famous Paris cemeteries. So maybe next time we're over there we could, sort of just get in the swing of it for about 80 or 100 years' time.
Sure.
When, and we'd just, get in the mood.
Buenos Aires, there's a huge memorial to Evita, of course.
Of course.
Oh,
yes.
That's people flock there like pilgrims.
Have you been to South America at all on your journeys?
Several times, yes. It's one of my favourite continents.
It's funny, I missed the slide night, but I want to be invited, please, because I'd like to, relive your highlights.
Boys, how about I bring the videos in and leave them with you for a couple of weeks? So enjoy them at your leisure.
It's going to be lovely.
Third World War fighting over.
Actually, you're right. No, you have them. No, I don't want them. You have them.
I would hurl them at Hitchener.
Well, guys, you don't know what you're missing. I am Melbourne's David Attenborough.
Well, you certainly are. There's no question of that. And did you like South America?
Yeah, very much. I've been to Chile, Peru, Argentina, Brazil, Ecuador, Bolivia.
The only thing is, I think now Lanchili flies pretty much straight over there from, I don't know, from Melbourne or Sydney or New Zealand.
You can fly from Qantas, Sydney, direct to Santiago, Chile.
Can you really?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
gosh. But once upon a time, it was a matter of getting to North America and then making your way south. And
going through New York.
30 or 40 weeks later, you're thinking, well, I'll be there soon.
Well, remember flying from Australia to England. It was Aden, Ceylon.
Yes, that's right.
It was like a fortnight trip to
That's
get
right,
there.
to get there, yes.
Kuwait, Bahrain, Calcutta.
Yes.
It was called the Kangaroo Route.
That's right.
We made five stops.
Right.
On the way
5
to
stops,
London.
so that would take you a few days to get there.
Oh,
you
2 or 3 days.
I guess you wouldn't have jet lag, though. That is something that I really suffer from, shocking.
Oh, do you?
I hate it, and I feel terrible for weeks.
Can you sleep on board?
I can sleep on board, but it doesn't matter. Whatever I do, I come back here and I feel tired and cranky.
Do
You probably could
yes.
take something for that. It's called medically circadian dysrhythmia.
And that's what it is.
That's
Yes,
what
I
you're
get it very
suffering from.
badly, yes.
Gerald Quigley might have
Oh,
it.
Jesus.
Oh, well, we don't want one tonight. All right, so good.
But he's very good, Gerald Quigley. He will help you with those
sure.
things. But I must say, you two are marvellous because you're intrepid travellers. You go, you come back, no jet lag, that sort of thing. It takes me ages to get over it. And I'm over there, I'm thinking, gosh, I'm missing Melbourne. And, you might be looking at the most glorious scene you've ever seen in your life, and you think, I wonder what they're doing back home. I wonder what's happening.
All the time.
I was just thinking, I wonder if there's anything going on at Fed Square today or something like that,
I know.
Do you know what
It's
you
Melbourne.
should try to do? And I try to do it when I can. There's nothing worse than travelling overseas on your own. If you can travel with a mate or a friend or a relative, even if you're paying for them, gee, it's worth it to share.
To
and
have somebody
see
to
it-
fight with.
To see it through their eyes.
You think?
Well, yeah, anyone who wants to travel with Peter with a free ticket, just to keep him awake, get in touch with Channel 9.
No, I beg you.
Post Office Box 489, GPO.
No, I beg you. Either that or a Mario Lanza album. I heard you talking about Mario Lanza again.
Do you
last
remember
night.
your father buying, what would it be, Chrysler?
Yes.
Hi-Fi?
Bit of a Stromberg Carlson.
Stromberg Carlson, beautiful furniture glistening in the corner there.
It's lovely rosewood.
And as a treat, he would bring in the Mario Lanza album, and his fingers would not touch a track.
Oh, no, because it's the loveliest night of the year.
Oh, and we were bombarded with Lanza as
that
kids.
voice, and it was so overpoweringly. And then he'd add a few little extra twiddly bits just to be on the safe side. And I used to think, that's just awful. I don't like it at all.
But as kids, we were indoctrinated. Oh,
Very
Dad,
much.
this is wonderful. Put the bass on so we get big bassy.
Turn it up, will you? No. And I was delighted to hear that neither of you were fans either.
Oh, no.
Last night when you were talking to Kevin Trask, it was very funny.
No way.
But funny you should say that, Bruce. Our very first album was Mario Lanza Sings a Student Prince.
it was too.
That was our first LP.
Oh.
A little 10-inch one.
And I think he was very, very big in Hollywood for a while, for for a time, but I think they found him difficult to work with. Or there were some stories about, him wanting to direct the show and be the star and all that sort of thing. Maybe I'm doing him a disservice, I'm not sure, but I have heard those stories.
Well, there were also stories he was murdered by the mafia.
Oh, look,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And we quizzed Catherine Grayson about that, and she'd been very, intimate with him at one time.
You were very close with Catherine Grayson, of course.
I've never met the lady.
Have you not? Have you interviewed her?
Yeah, we talked to her in Hollywood.
Yes.
But she denied that. She said he died from natural causes.
Sure.
Yes.
We'll leave it at that then.
Yes, I think maybe we should. And then we can start talking about Abbott and Costello or something like that.
I'm not afraid to mention the mafia.
Peter, we've got somebody who may be able to help you on that long transatlantic trip between Bombay and Karachi.
Hello.
Gerald Quigley, good evening.
Oh, it's Gerald.
Good evening, everybody, and hello, Peter. How are
Hello,
you?
Gerald. How are you? Oh, you're marvellous. Gerald, I must say, I had this little trouble with the throat at one point. My voice decided not to work. Lavinia had to step in at the moment's notice, which she did, and it was Gerald who said, look, you try these, and they actually worked a treat.
Oh.
And that's something maybe we should all talk about, isn't it, Gerald? Because everyone who's on air occasionally gets a bit of a throat.
And there's nothing worse than having your voice disintegrate whilst you're halfway through a word.
Exactly. So thank you so much for that suggestion. And I'm wondering, do you have another one for transatlantic flights and the return therefrom?
The solution, Peter, to adjust your circadian rhythms, as Philip so eloquently pointed out, is melatonin, which is a hormone which we all make in our brain. But sadly, Australia is the only country in the world where you can't buy a melatonin supplement. You have to go to the doctor and get a prescription.
Oh.
So the trick is that if you are travelling, or you know someone who's travelling, even in Auckland or anywhere in America or in Europe, you can buy melatonin capsules over the counter.
Oh.
And they work brilliantly if you take them for 3 consecutive nights. So you take them the night before you fly, you take it on the long leg of your flight, and then you take it at the first night of your new destination. And jet lag will not be a problem.
Oh, that is wonderful. Melatonin.
Melatonin. So, Peter, if you don't have any, if you get a prescription from your doctor, the prescription one here is called Circadin. So if you think of circadian. Circadin, it's about $50 or so, but you might get some of that back from your private health insurance, but worth every cent.
Gerald, I'm most grateful to you, and I know there'll be people listening tonight who agree with me that jet lag can be a problem, and thank you very much for coming up with a way of dealing with it.
Absolute pleasure, gentlemen. Delighted to speak to you. Good night to all of you.
Thank you so much, Gerald.
Good night, good night, Bruce. Good night, Gerald. Good night, Phil. Good night, Gerald.
Isn't he helpful? He's
Isn't he
always
terrific?
on call.
I thought you'd gone for a minute there, Philip. I thought you hadn't taken your melatonin.
No, I'm looking for a biro, otherwise I'll have to fly out all night.
Please, all right, come on. Gerald Quigley, thank you very much for that good advice to
That's
Peter.
terrific. Thanks, Gerald.
Now, a caller rang and said that it's Patty and Bert's wedding anniversary today.
Oh, aren't they marvellous?
Will
you ever forget that?
Did we ever go?
No, I was up north doing the Moneymakers.
Oh, right.
We had it on the news. It was a huge news story.
Yes, it was.
And it was, it made, the papers just went absolutely crazy about it.
Graham Kennedy, best man.
Yeah, was he? I'd forgotten that.
Yes.
Val Ruff, I think, one of the bridesmaids. I'm not sure.
No, you're confusing Jeff Cork's wedding.
So this was the coverage.
Yes.
All those years
It was
ago.
huge.
I
It
tell
wasn't
you,
it was big.
the year was 1974 at St Dominic's, East Camberwell.
That's right. That's right. And I seem to remember that somehow or other we got pictures back, and it was, it was just one of those huge events and something that everybody cared about. And, because, Bert and Patty at the time, and still are, huge.
Oh, yes.
It was lovely, lovely story. Good on them.
Oh, I think it was lovely.
A happy anniversary to them.
Yes, if they're listening, the lovebirds that they are.
Yes.
Hey, it's good to see you, Peter.
It's lovely to see you. Thank you very much. Have a lovely night.
It goes so quickly. Where's it gone?
I'm not sure.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
A lot of fun.
Thank you.
Channel 9's Peter Hitchener. Okay, look at the ratings. Not in order, but these are the top for Melbourne last night.
Interesting.
So they're not necessarily in order, but they'll give you an idea. The block number 1, clearly, that would have got a huge figure last night.
Yeah, at 7 o'clock, yes.
9 News Sunday was number 2. Then came 7's News Sunday night.
That was interesting last night about the cars that don't require drivers.
Yeah,
Fascinating story, wasn't
very
it?
good story, and Darren Hinch's expose on the epidemic of the ice.
Yes,
epidemic.
scary.
Very. 60 Minutes was up there. First test, Australia versus New Zealand. Beach Cops, ABC News, and then a couple of showings of the cricket.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks, Bruce.
All right, let's move on now and say hello to Denise from Heathmont. Phil.
Hi.
Hello, Bruce and Phil again. Look, my blood is boiling tonight because if people would only realise this is going on in Australia. I was listening to Steve Price's program before yours, and I didn't listen to the whole program, but I heard some idiot of a woman come on and say that people aren't willing to pay the high prices of Australian products in supermarkets. They'd rather get half price by buying overseas products. Now, if all Australians supported Australian food, maybe the manufacturers might eventually drop the price because they'd make enough money to drop it. Now, I feel sorry for these poor farmers who are committing suicide. They are going through hell, and if we don't watch it, the Chinese will be running Australia because they're buying land in New South Wales. They're driving expensive cars, they're living in expensive homes, they own expensive buildings. They even go to the Chinese bank and buy a house without putting a deposit on it because the Chinese bank allows it. Now, I don't think Australians are aware that this is happening, but we will be an Australian country if somebody doesn't stop it. This free trade China agreement is going to go too far, and I am frightened, and my blood is boiling. That idiot that said that people would rather buy overseas products for half price, are we all going to end up with cancer or something?
Okay, a point well made. You're passionate about this.
Yes, you certainly are, and I can
Well,
understand.
it's true. It's happening.
Yeah, sadly it is. Now, my point, when I go shopping, I prefer to buy Australian when it comes to food, if I can, but I'm not fussy when I'm buying something like bleach or cleaning products and things. I don't mind if they're a bit cheaper and from overseas.
Yeah, nice to get the Australian brand there to help a company here that's maybe struggling in Nudata with two men packing bleach.
I prefer to buy Australian products where it's food, I've told you, but where it's just cleaning products or whatever.
But any product with the Australian brand is helping someone in Australia.
Absolutely it is. I'm just telling you my philosophy.
So you don't want to?
Yeah, if the Australian product is comparable and is cheap, I'll buy it, yes. But if it's more expensive, I'll think twice about it, as I've just explained why.
Nice to buy the Australian brand.
Yeah, well, I do when it comes to foodstuffs.
Yeah, but not the old bleach. But how much? Just give me a bit of a round. How much bleach do you go through?
No, I'm talking about Brasso and
Oh,
Silver.
all right. Good on you.
Toilet cleaner,
Yeah.
duck and S-bends.
Yeah, good on you. Rob, good evening, Rob.
Good evening, guys. Bruce and Colonel Brady.
Yes, Rob.
Bruce, did you do a good doodle of Colonel Brady last night?
Yes, I did. The best doodle I could do.
Oh, good. And we hung it on the wall. Listen, that caller previously is very correct. While I was in New Zealand, there was a big news story about a beautiful mansion in Mount Eden in Auckland that are brought by a Chinese family or gentleman, but they only brought it for the value. It was unoccupied, and it was full of squatters that had been destroyed. The local neighbours were very up in arms about it. And beautiful mansion, a beautiful view, and it was unoccupied, and it was basically falling down. And they didn't even have to come over to buy it. They brought it overseas, and that was it. They'd never even been to see it.
Right. I think there should be a rule that you have to live here for 6 months or more before you can purchase property.
Yeah, well, that's, this was in Auckland in New Zealand. So,
New Zealand.
Yeah, but over here it could very well happen. I mean, my son-in-law was telling me that the company, the farm that he worked for, the company that the farmer, all of his stuff, they leased heaps of his land just to farm. Yeah. And he said that's when he quit, but yeah, they just leased his farm. Now, the other thing too, the gentleman from Berwick, I know it's the wrong side of town, on the corner of, what is it,
What suburb? Where are we?
Oh, it's North Fitzroy. It's the top of Lygon Street and Holmes Street. On the number 8 or 1, where there's an S-bend, there is a place there, right next to the Brunswick Club, or opposite McDonald's, and they sell all of those motorised scooters and motorised wheelies. But I know it's at North Fitzroy. It's a bit far out, but I know that one is still going.
Oh, well, that's very handy. Thank you very much for letting us know that, Rob.
Yeah.
I know it's a bit far from Berwick, isn't it?
Yes, it is, but Cameron could check it out on the internet.
Never know. Check it out. Phone call.
Yes.
All right.
Very helpful, Rob. Thank you.
Yeah, very good of you, Rob. Thank you. 20 to 11.
The small business...
The clue that I'm about to move out will be when you see a skip or a dump master on my drive. You'll know I'm having the big clean out prior to selling.
Oh, what are you getting rid of?
Well, I'll get rid of all the old Christmas cards, birthday cards, tax returns, all the junk we accumulate through the years.
A bridal gown?
Oh, not my mother's bridal gown. No, that's still on the dummy in the garage.
Oh, right.
In case she comes back.
Oh, please. Thank you very much. 11 to 11. Roger, good evening.
You there, Roger? Thanks for waiting on.
Pleasure. The gentleman who's visually impaired, who was looking for a scooter or whatever, with his groceries, I'll give him a bit of a word of advice. If he calls up his local council, and I'm sure he's got one, they will actually help him out in relation to his daily shopping. And there's helpers there and there's volunteers through every council throughout Victoria that will help that gentleman with his grocery items.
Oh, that's helpful.
So if he gets in contact with them, the local council, they'll help him out. Now, let's go back to the top of the hour where you opened up your introduction, Philip, in relation to naming certain people for certain offences they've committed and putting in the back of their windscreens. And can you name those again, please?
I just suggested, because they're talking about an S card for seniors, my suggestion was a D card for those convicted of drink driving or drugs.
Right, so it was an SD, and what was the other one? You mentioned another one too, didn't you?
D was the one I had on my mind.
Okay. So does that stem to the Victoria Police if a member has been convicted of a drink driving charge or a drug driving charge? Does it say the member of this divisional van was convicted, and hence the word was, convicted of a drink driving offence or a drug driving offence? Would the police put that on the back of their cars?
It wouldn't be on the police car. It would be on their own private vehicle, of course.
Well, why not? I mean, you've made this outrageous comment. You've made this outlandish comment, and you've come out with it at the top of the hour, and you said, label this, label that.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Well, if it's going to work for everyone, Philip, right, and you've got to think about what you're saying, actually, because what you've said is absolutely ludicrous and stupid, right?
Yeah.
And well, it is. It's absolutely ludicrous.
But can I butt in and say that tonight you're calling yourself Roger of Caulfield. Every time you call, you have a different name and a different suburb, and you are always argumentative, Roger, or whoever you might be. It's
Jessica Lang. Remember Jessica Lang? She was an actress, wasn't she?
Yes, in King Kong.
Jessica, good evening.
How are we, gentlemen?
Now,
It's
darling,
lovely.
darling, the passing parade is looming. Can we?
Okay, I'll be very quick.
Can we bring you back or what?
Pardon?
Can we ring you back or what?
Oh, no, that's fine. It's just in regards to the gentleman with the mobility scooter.
Right.
There is someone in Berwick. They're called Coastal Care, Medical Equipment Hire and Sales. Their phone number is 9707 4955.
Aren't you helpful, Jessica?
Thank you very much. I love you, boys. I listen to you every night whilst doing my work.
Oh, you're a darling. Thank you so much for that. Have we got that phone number,
Yes,
please?
for Cameron, 9707 4955 for Coastal Care in Berwick.
And that's right in the heart of Berwick. You're very
Hello
sweet.
again.
Oh,
This
Jessica,
is John
thank
Doremus
you
with
so
the
much, you
Passing
rude
Parade,
swine.
the story of a spinster queen. History abounds with the names of great and lovely women who have, from humble origins, used their feminine charms to achieve power over kings and empires. But in the case of Queen Christina of Sweden, exactly the reverse applied. And I'll be back with her story after this message.
The cows and the sheep and the birds and the horses were moving and buying and whistling and neighing, having lunch in the sun, while Hugo and I were having none. In the back seat we sat, getting thinner. The rumblings cried, "Give us Kentucky Fried, time for dinner." Dad stopped the car. And Hugo said, "You go."
And I said, "No, you go."
And soon he was back with the pack. And then Dad hit the track. So we ate in the back, feeling better inside. A drive isn't funny with an empty tummy. Thank goodness for Kentucky Fried.
She was born on December 18th, 1626. The only child of one of the greatest and most heroic of the soldier kings of the day, the illustrious King Gustavus Adolphus of Sweden. From earliest childhood, Princess Christina was a true daughter of her father. She seemed not to know the meaning of fear, and her spirit was indomitable. Before she was 6, King Gustavus was slain in battle, and Christina succeeded to the Swedish throne. An exceptional human being, she had an amazing faculty for foreign languages, and in the ensuing years became well-versed in mathematics, theology, and philosophy. She disdained all the accepted feminine pursuits, and her ruling passions were riding and hunting. Until she turned 18, Sweden was ruled by a regency, and it was with much reluctance that Christina assumed her responsibilities as ruler of the empire. Despite the pressures brought to bear on her to take a husband and produce an heir, she never married. Her thirst for knowledge became a mania, and she conceived the ambition to become Europe's most cultured woman. She filled the University of Uppsala with distinguished foreign scholars and spoke of founding a philosophical and literary academy under the presidency of the great French philosopher René Descartes, who made a pilgrimage to her court. Descartes was her great joy, her boon intellectual companion, and her refuge from the pressing problems around her. When he died from pneumonia in the winter of 1650, Christina was inconsolable. She had always been deeply interested in religion, and from that time on, to the dismay of her Protestant people, she began to lead toward Catholicism. At the same time, her health began to fail. In 1652, she made an attempt to abdicate, but was persuaded to stay on the throne. The following year, however, she decided that Catholicism alone could provide what her tangled spirit craved. Defying her senators, her royal relatives, and her people, she made public her intention to become a Catholic. She then formally abdicated in favor of her cousin, Prince Charles Gustavus, and left Sweden for Rome. There she was warmly received by the Pope, who applauded her conversion. But she found Sweden unsympathetic in the matter of remittances, and was obliged to sell off her jewels in order to maintain herself. In due course, she came into conflict with the Catholic Church and returned to Sweden with a view of regaining the throne. Her attempt failed. In 1667, she tried again, unsuccessfully. The Swedish people would have none of her, so it was back to Rome for ex-Queen Christina. There she lived for many years on the charity of the Church. She died neglected and forgotten on April 19, 1689, an embittered, frustrated woman. Our time is up till we meet again for another chapter in the Passing Parade. This is John Doremus. As always, thank you so much, and goodbye for now.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Dean. 11:08. Forever and a day on radio, we've always talked about mispronunciations, the different spelling of words and how they are either mispronounced or pronounced in an incorrect way. Yes. Interesting, in the black and white column in the Sun today, Jen Kelly writes the different ways to pronounce one, the word one, as in the number. One, as in bone, done, or gone.
Yes.
All different different slants, aren't they?
Yeah, tough if you're learning the language.
Now, if tomb is pronounced tomb,
yes,
T-O-O-M, that's in the grave, the tomb, and womb is pronounced womb, then shouldn't bomb be pronounced boom?
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, June has come with 5 different pronunciations for O-U-G-H, O, or off, as in trough, cough, through, bow, and dough.
It's true. Very confusing, isn't it?
Well,
sorry for our new Australian chums.
Well, yes, if they're learning tonight on that, they'll never learn.
Do you remember the program on ABC Radio, English for New Australians?
So that's interesting. All the the same spelling, but totally different pronunciations.
But do you remember for all our migrant chums after the war, and they would speak sentences very slowly.
Very few people.
Are you going to the zoo,
Very few
Bruce?
people would remember that.
I do.
11:10. Chris, good evening.
Hello, fellas. How are you?
Yes, Chris.
I was talking to a number of people today, and hello to Kenny and Pat, who have been long-term listeners to 3AW programs for more than 35 years. And I was trying to make them aware that I have no answers to the systematic changes at 3AW. I'm struggling with a lot of sadness and a lot of mental impairment, a lot of anxiety. I'm finding it hard to sleep properly. I'm getting a lot of broken sleep. Because I don't know if these changes have been is under an experimental stage and will be soon enough under review, or whether they're rock solid. And I'm facing something I never envisaged I would face again for an eternity. In late 1991, when Harold Todd went off the air for 6 weeks on 3OK. And eventually passed away because he had a very sad health issue, and he died. And I started flickering with the switches and found Alan Pearsall, and soon enough Keith McGowan during the week. And just for all those years, particularly with Keith McGowan and Alan Pearsall, I was able to have a lot of fun and learn to laugh at myself, and it felt as though really warm inside that I achieved something on certain calls, And don't worry, but Keith McGowan used to serve me up about the cross-dressing, about my mental illness and the medications and the fortnightly injection, which I still get and all that. But I seen the funny side of it. But now, if these changes are rock solid and we're going to have extremely less amounts of time to participate in 3AW programs, I mean, even with the Australian overnight program Monday to Friday, I can still ring the weekends, but they said, probably the producer said, all I said to them, look, I've been on hold 3 hours and 17 minutes, and there's 27 calls allegedly got through while I was on hold. And he suggested, well, look, you might be better off ringing Lifeline rather than the Australia Overnight program. And I didn't take offence to that because obviously, I suffer a lot of depression, and sometimes some of my calls is because I'm sad about a particular issue. I know it's not always like Simon Owen said to raise it on Talkback Radio, but sometimes you are a lifeline to me, and sometimes I need a sounding board or just to get a few things off my chest. But I will try and keep within the program structure where possible. But I do have mental impairment and brain damage which can't be reversed. I wish the God and still have cry at times thinking if only Keith McGowan was still here, because he used to lift me when no one else probably could.
Yeah, well, as we always say, Chris, you're always welcome on our show. You're part of the family.
13 past 11. Queenie, good evening.
Good evening, boys. There is there and there,
yes,
and where and where.
That's it, yes. Yeah.
And ought and
careful.
Oh, there is quite a bunch of them. Anyway, did you say you boys had seen the dressmaker?
No, we haven't been.
You haven't?
And my wife went to see it.
What did she think of it, Bruce?
She loathed it.
Did she? Well, I loved it because of all the actors that were in. Most of them were Australian actors, and the parts they played them very, very well. And the one that I thought played a great part was Judy Davis. Oh, she was an old hag. Oh God, she was terrible.
Yeah, she was
but
the old.
anyway,
She was.
I wouldn't say I would love it, but it's got a bit of everything in it. I would say the word is quirky. Quirky, very quirky film. And but I loved all the people that were in it. I think there was no green trees or grass or anything. It was a real dust bowl. But enjoyed it very much, and I wouldn't say not to go and see it, because I think people should go and see it if they feel they want to and make their own decision about it. There is a bit of violence in it. Shane Bourne is good. I just kept picking them all out, the different ones that I knew. And I think one of the ladies that was his wife, I think she was Terry Norris's wife.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and it was, but I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say I didn't enjoy it, but there were parts in it that I didn't sort of think much of. But anyway,
I think
Australian film, and we need the Australian actors for jobs. But Kate Winslet was absolutely great in it. She's lovely, and she got the Australian accent to a T. No Meryl Streepy.
Apparently there's a very unexpected murder towards the end.
Yes, it was, and it's got a twist in it, quite a few twists and turns in it, actually. And I think you've got to see it. There's a bit of everything in it.
Yes.
Everything.
It sounds like a chick flick to me, Queenie.
No, I think it's a bit more than that. Righto, Queenie, thank you so much. Shane Don, Marilyn, Joy, coming to you very soon. Shane, good evening.
Oh, thanks, Bruce. Good evening, fellas.
Yeah, what's your story, Shane?
Oh, look, I just wanted to raise a few issues, and thank you very much for taking the call, because there's not much radio that take my call. But look, I've been doing a few studies, and I've been pushing this for a while now, Phil. I'm very concerned about the energy drinks, these energy drinks like Red Bull and that for kids. I don't think kids should be having these drinks. I think there should be an age limit on them. In New South Wales, it's over 16. And I think in Victoria, it should be at least 16 or even over 18. When a young child's brain is developing and it's in a susceptible environment and it hasn't got good nutrients and maybe a good household, there's a good chance it'll hook into these drinks, and then as its brain develops, it'll crave higher stimulants, and it will not really help its health. So my concern is children in the state of Victoria should be better protected by their government. And the government should actually have really a look into these energy drinks. They're made by multinational foreign companies mostly, and they're absolutely shocking for a child's development in the brain.
Okay, so from what age would you encourage people to drink them?
Never.
All right.
Not at all, like a cigarette.
Okay, well, now I must emphasise that that's only your point of view, not necessarily ours.
Well, there's plenty of medical people and people who believe in this too, Phil, and I think you'd agree. You wouldn't want your grandchild or somebody like that who's about 8 or 9 getting behind the shoulder shed and having a cigarette, would you?
No, obviously, of course.
And, well, it's the same with the Red Bull. A Red Bull is probably more...
Yeah, well, now, you see, you're mentioning... We can't go along with that, Shane, because you're mentioning brand names.
Now, you might be right, so that could be the case, but with the mentioning of a brand name, we can't go along with that because it's, libelous, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, it's not necessarily the opinion
Shane,
of the station.
Thank you for your opinion, and we appreciate that. Don at Camberwell.
Hello, Bruce. Hello, Phil.
Yeah, Don, welcome.
Phil, it's very good that your little doggy is going well.
Yeah, he's 6 months old now. He's a joy to behold.
Oh, it's good stuff.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Fellas, I know you talk to Peter Hitchener here and there from time to time, but I'd like to just suggest that, you know, that man, he projects himself so well. He has a good persona about him. And I think, you know, we can look at all news reporters from time to time in different situations, but I think Pete sort of projects himself with a very, very good persona. You can look at the man and you know that, well, he has a job to do. He's reporting the news. And I might add, he does a top job. But you see, the hidden secret is to look at the person behind the news. And in saying that, Pete, if you're listening, you do a top job, pal. I think he has a persona that, in fact, does reach people. He might be an older person, who cares? But there we go, you see. And people read this, people feel this. And I like the way that you give Peter the opportunity to come on board with you two fellas, because I think it shows a different perspective to the person behind the news.
Yes, you are right, and actually it's a very good point that you make. You can get a newsreader on the air and not make fun, but belittle his standing.
Yes.
Which neither of us do with Peter Hitchener, because we respect it as a friend and we know how far to go. But it has happened, hasn't it? We'll get a newsreader or a current affairs journalist or somebody who's high-powered and tear shreds of it. And you've just got to be a bit careful like that.
Yes, can wreck their credibility.
Well, that's right.
I agree.
But with Pete, he is a jovial fellow, good fun, and that comes across on the news set as well as in here with us.
Yes.
We're very grateful for that.
And we humanise him on Nightline.
Yeah. Don, thank you for your comments. Well perceived. Thank you. Marilyn at West Rosebud.
Hi, Bruce and Phil.
Yes, Marilyn, hello.
Oh, I've had my colonoscopy and it didn't work, so I had to have a virtual colonoscopy after it.
Oh, well, that happens, yes. Everybody has them, yes.
Yeah, the doctor said he'll get to the bottom of things and give me the report on Thursday.
Oh, good luck to you.
That's all right. That's good.
I've got my girlfriend, Chris, that I love very much. I promised I'd write a poem for her and her mum, Muriel. Her mum, Muriel, listens to you every night.
Oh, good. Let's hear it.
My friend Chris. I have a loving friend. Chris is her name. Always working hard, achievement she has gained, the love and faith of her higher power, the strength behind her caring blossoms like a flower. Her darling mum Muriel and a heart made of gold, many hours with her beautiful and bold. Chris will never let you down, she loves and always gives. Her family's undying love, reality is to live. Chris's dad has passed, but never Chris will forget a promise to look after her mum that she will never regret. So, my best friend, I wrote this from me to you. No more the grey skies, for God's light shines lovingly on you. God bless Marilyn.
Oh, lovely. I hope she's listening.
I do too.
Yeah, she'll love that. Good on you, Chris.
Thank you very much indeed, Marilyn.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bruce and Phil.
Okay, Marilyn, thanks for that. Joy at Dramana.
Hi, Bruce and Phil. How are you going?
Hello
Good,
again.
Thanks.
If I don't ring you occasionally, people say, Joy, what's happened to Joy from Dramana? And I go, oh, well, they're busy and your hours are so different.
That's right.
I don't like to take up the time that all your people have been listening to you for years. Oh. But anyway, I had something nice to say.
Yes.
I do a lunch duty on a Friday at one of our churches down here on a Friday. A lovely bunch of people. They've adopted me. So they were going to the ballet, and I'm 77 and never been. So we went Thursday night to the Frankston Arts Centre. Oh, it was beautiful. It was a Russian ballet, and they did Swan Lake. It was so lovely. They're so kind to me. They really are. So I wanted to ring up and say thank you to them and let you know that I had a lovely time.
That's beautiful.
Did they have a live orchestra or recorded music, Joy?
It was recorded. I did ask one of the ladies. She said, no, it's recorded.
Okay.
But I couldn't tell, you know. That didn't worry me. The costumes, it was just beautiful. I really feel privileged that they asked me. So there you go.
I just hope that all of your friends at that special Friday lunch and the subsequent appearance at the ballet all heard that lovely message.
Don't they put on some wonderful shows at the Frankston Arts Centre?
Rick at Rosebud. Good day, Rick.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, good day. Welcome, Rick.
Well, I've rung to admonish you because that gentleman that rang earlier that suffers from depression and whatever, I suffer from severe depression and I have wonderful friends that support me, and I just feel that you cut him off immaturely when he needed help and needed support. And it's a very difficult disease or whatever to handle, to have severe depression. And you need to be helped every day. And that gentleman was calling out for some sort of support and help. And I really think that you cut him off immaturely.
Rick, are you aware that Chris of Broadmeadows calls us frequently, mostly every night, and tonight we gave him 4 minutes?
Well, he obviously needs help. He needs companionship. He needs someone to listen to him.
Did you hear me say to him, Chris, you are welcome to ring any time because you are part of the family?
Well, I heard you say that, but then you did cut him off quite sharply.
Well, as everybody, you know, we're only on air for 2 hours, Rick. We have very limited time with all our commitments and commercials. We don't single anyone out for that.
Well, I just thought that he needed a little bit more time and a little bit more help. He's obviously a troubled soul, and I can understand what he's going through. I've recently lost my sister that I've shared a house with for 18 years, and, you know, when you're not a well person, it's hard to get your mind around things and hard to focus. And he obviously needs some understanding and help. And I just felt that you were a little unfair to him, even if he does call more than normal. He obviously needs help and needs someone to talk to. And you are the ones that he turns to.
Indeed, we are. We treat him as a friend of this program, and I think we have spoken to Chris every night for about 7 years, every night of the week. Rachel, good evening.
Hi there, Bruce and Phil. I didn't ring for this, but I just listening to that last caller, I just wanted to say that I hear you at night, and I do hear Chris ring every night, and I commend your program because you do take calls, and you are people that other people reach out to at this time of the night. You are their lifeline, and you do a fantastic job. So, you know, whether that other fellow knows it or not, you do.
Thank you.
You do so much for people. But what I did ring for was, on the weekend, we have some people here from overseas.
Right.
And we went, my husband and I took them to, they're with us for a few weeks more, but we took them to the Yarra Valley yesterday.
A lovely spot.
Oh, Do you know, I have not been there, I don't know for how many years, but we went to Shandon,
Yes.
Earing Station, Rochford Winery.
Oh, lovely.
We had lunch there, and Toko Estate, and then for dessert we went to the Chocolatier, and that was my first time I've ever been there.
Right, they're in country Victoria. They're up there.
Yeah, they're near Hillsville. So we went for all that drive around the Yarra Valley and then up towards Hillsville to go to the Chocolatier. So, and the day was absolutely perfect. And there's also a cheese factory up there.
Yes.
It was magnificent. And I just want people to know, you know, if an hour and a half drive, you're in the countryside and it's so close to Melbourne.
That's right.
And it's the most beautiful thing, and I just want people to go and do it. I had a wonderful time. We had the best time ever.
Oh, isn't that lovely? Where are the friends from?
They're from Switzerland.
Oh, how lovely.
Oh, it's terrific. They're here for another few weeks, so I'd say we'll take them to the city and...
Yes.
I forget what's the name of that building. It's got the glass that comes out. The
Rialto building.
Yeah.
No, Eureka Sky Deck.
That's it, the Eureka. I really want to go up there too. So that will be absolutely...
Take them out on what's called the Edge.
The Edge, yes. But, that we'll be going there as well. But it was a magnificent day, and there was so much to do, and it's just so close to home.
It is. It's everything's so easy to get to.
Yeah, and you know, with this rain that we've been having, it's so green up there. It's just...
Oh, it would be.
And we saw llamas. Llamas. Oh, it was just terrific.
Oh, you've had a great time, and I bet they'll love it.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, we'll do a few more things with them. And, but, yeah, magnificent. We have a beautiful country and a great state. And
Thank you, Rachel, for giving us a ring tonight. That was really very, very special. And I suppose it's hard to take a group of people from Switzerland to say, come out to the Yarra Valley and have a look at what we've got. But really, it's totally different. Everything is so accessible, vineyard one after the other, and as Rachel said, the greenery and Aussie bush.
Yes.
Totally different.
The cheese factory they went to as well.
So for the grandeur of the Alps to the beauty of the Yarra Valley.
Yes, I'll be very at home here.
Dale of Thornbury. Good evening, Dale.
Good evening, Bruce and Phil.
Hi, what's news, Dale?
Well, the greatest news is that life is fantastic.
Good.
We all breathe, believe and receive.
Wonderful.
Your viewers and listeners are also positive in their own aspects of life, and they are to be acknowledged. And you guys do the best bloody thing always. You listen and hear them. You know, you put out and you're fantastic. Yeah?
Right. Thank you so much.
Many moons ago, I was a young dancer in many musicals, and I loved every day of it, every moment of it. And I worked at Channel 9 as a young dancer, a Tony Bartuccio dancer. I breathed, believed and received everything through my career, but you guys were the best. Because I remember walking through the corridors at Channel 9, and there you were, Phil, you know, there, and it was...
How long ago, Dale?
Oh, look, I'm saying like the 70s, Phil. You know, I was a young guy, and I did all the musicals. I did heaps of them, you know, for many moons. And I worked also at ATV10, and I would smile at Bruce, you know, in the many days of happiness, you know.
Of course.
But it was fantastic. Now, these days, what I'm doing is setting up some fantastic enterprises for people within my heart. You know, I'm an older boy now, and I'm just sort of like trying to set up some beneficial aspects for people in the old homes, you know. So, not what I'm saying old homes, but what I'm saying is...
retirement homes,
Yeah, you know, and helping people out. And what I'm doing is, like, still living my life, etc., but I'm not putting a hook out for a hamper, but it would be lovely if I could rock up one day with a hamper. And I might, you know.
Yeah, well, you might be lucky sometime.
We don't have a hamper tonight to give away, but certainly
That doesn't matter.
give us a call another time and see how we go, Dale. Good luck with your venture and good luck with those memories. That's very special.
Good entertaining people in aged care, isn't it? Very worthwhile.
20 to court 2. Tony, good evening.
Yes, hello boys, how you going?
Yeah, good on you, Tony.
Hey, just a quick one I'd like to stick up for you guys. I know you give Chris a lot of airtime and a lot of air views, so maybe Rick can give Chris a ring each night and maybe go out and have a game of pool with him. They could do a bit of bonding.
Yeah, not a bad thought.
Yeah, good one,
Not bad,
Tony.
yeah. Now, one quick one, a quick hello to Mrs. Davey, who's a good friend who's getting over a virus, and just to give her good vibes.
Mrs.
And,
Davis, yes.
Yeah, Mrs. Davey, that's it. And one more thing, I think, Phil, that we're brothers from a different mother.
Explain that to me, Tony. Do we share the same surname?
No, we both wear chesty bonds. I've been wearing chesty bonds for years.
Yes.
And I feel extra naked when I don't have one on. Do you feel like extra naked when you don't wear one?
No, I wear a singlet all year round, even in the summer.
Come on, boys, getting a bit too personal here.
Yeah, no, same here. I think I was even born with one on. I've been wearing it for that long.
And do you wear jockettes or boxer shorts?
Would you mind? Get together and have a look at your slips. Karen and Tullamarine.
Hello, Bruce and Phil. How are you both?
Hi, Karen.
I haven't spoken to you for a while. My daughter and I went to see Dressmaker.
All right, yes.
And I encourage everyone to go. It was a lovely film. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yes.
We laughed, we cried, and it was just beautiful.
Good, that's a recommendation.
So, I'm not going to tell you what happens. Don't want to spoil it, but it was lovely.
All right, thank you for
And
that.
just a lovely time with my daughter as well.
Why don't you take her to the pancake parlour for afternoon tea? Would you like that?
That would be lovely.
All right. The pancake parlour is open 24...
Thank you, boys.
I'll just finish this. The pancake parlour is open 24 hours at High Point, Doncaster and Malvern East. So it'd be lovely if you could both go.
That would be very nice.
Okay,
Thank
love.
you.
Don't hang up. We'll get
And love to the grandchildren.
Thank you, dear, very much. Hold the line now. Don't hang up, and we'll get the voucher sent to you from the pancake parlour.
Congratulations, Karen.
They're lovely.
Oh, yes.
Jeff, good evening.
Bruce and Phil, look, two things if I could tonight. You talked earlier about the S plates for seniors.
Yes.
But before I talk about that, you also talked about the ratings tomorrow. I actually did the ratings. I got an invitation to do it online, and for the last 7 days, I got a reminder each day, and it's very simple to do, and you put down in 15-minute blocks who you've listened to, whether you're in the car, at work, at home, on a tablet, on your mobile, or on an AM, FM radio, and so on. So it was quite interesting to do. So, yeah, I was certainly part of that one when the ratings come out tomorrow.
Actually, what you did will be in the next survey in December, yes.
That's right. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
What else, Jeff?
On your S plates, Bill, I think, look, as you approach, as you become older, more and more you think differently about it than when you're a younger person, I suppose. But I think the big difference is the P-plate system. It's there to show everybody the level of experience that the driver might have. And yet, in an S-plate, you're at the other end where you've got nothing but experience, and you may drive a bit slower, a bit more cautiously because your health's failing a little or something like that. But so I don't know that I'm a big fan of it. I remember back with a bit of humour, I guess, when I was a younger chap, you never needed an S-plate then. What told you about an older driver was you saw the lawn bowls cap sitting in the back window of the car.
Yeah. Or the L for learners. Remember that plate?
Of course. Thanks, Jeff.
All right, Jeff, let's quickly go to Ruth at South Yarra, who's been very patient. Ruth?
That's right. Hi, boys. We had a lovely day buying Christmas presents and wrapping presents all night, thanks to Michelle Payne. So it's been wonderful. Mm-hmm. And that Kong has been terrific. It's lowered my anxiety. And I was able to get the utility size. I'm not the toy dog, I'm the utility, not the super large. But no, I know I'm being flippant, but I'm just saying you boys have taught me so much about consideration for others through the years and diplomacy. And I find whenever I go to a family thing nowadays, and I do have someone who's a bit tedious, I just say, it's 28 to 9, and bolt off. And they say, oh, she's become so diplomatic, that girl.
That's beautiful.
So thank you so much, boys. So time for you to say to me, it's 11:45, Ruth.
Hey,
bye.
it's 10-2.
Add the wow factor.
This piece is called Enjoy What You've Got. There was a father of one family. He was a hard worker. He met the needs of his family, a wife and 3 kids. Spent the evenings after work to attend courses to develop himself, hoping one day he'd get a better job with a better salary. Except Sundays, this father hardly had any dinner with his family. He worked and studied very hard since he wanted to provide his family everything that money could buy. Every time his family made a complaint that he didn't spend enough time with them, he always made an excuse that he was doing it all for them. There were many times, though, that he really wanted to spend his time with them. Then came the announcement. He'd passed the exam with flying colours. Soon he was offered a position of the senior supervisor, along with a tempting salary. Just like a dream come true, now he could provide a luxurious life for his family, such as beautiful outfits and delicious meals, trips to other countries. Still, the family couldn't see him the whole week. He kept working hard, hoping to be promoted as a manager. In fact, in order to make him suitable for that position, he enrolled to another course at an open university. Again, every time his family complained that he didn't spend much time with them, he said he did it all for them. Yet there were times when he really wanted to spend more time with them. All his hard work got paid. He was promoted to be manager. Gladly, he hired a maid to free his wife from the housework. He also felt that a 3-room flat wasn't big enough for them, and it would be great if they'd enjoy living in an apartment. And after that, he decided to work and study harder, that he would be promoted again. His family was having a hard time to meet him. He had to spend Sundays to accompany his guests, and again, every time his family complained that he didn't spend enough time with them, he said he did it all for them. And as expected, all his hard work succeeded, and he could now afford a beautiful apartment toward the beach. The first evening in their brand new house, he told his family that he wouldn't take any courses and go after promotions anymore. But since then, he wanted to give more and more of his time to his wife and children. That night, he went to sleep with a smile on his face, but he never woke up the next day. And that's something to ponder. Do you work for a living, or do you live for working? There are 2 things that are to be achieved in this life. Firstly, to get what you want. Second, to enjoy it afterwards. And it takes a wise man to achieve both. Happiness doesn't depend on how much you've got, but on how much you enjoy what you've got.
Copyright restricts distribution of this piece by any means.
Well, I trust that today has been kind to you as the last minutes tick by, and a new day is about to dawn. Thanks for staying up with us. The sun will come up tomorrow, and with its warm rays, and not as warm as today, top of 17, so it's going to be quite mild. Its warm rays will open up a brand new day for Australia overnight, and welcoming back Luke Boner from the trip to Vietnam.
That's right, yes. Now, here's something for you, and I'm going to ask you a question. It was on this day in 1989 that the Berlin Wall came down eventually. I'm going to ask you, who was the president who said, "Tear down the wall, Mr. Gorbachev"?
Ronald Reagan.
Yes, spot on.
Good night, Sophia Grace, little William Oliver, Sophia Grace, sweet Ella Grace, Charlotte, Emily, Amelia, Carter, and Samuel. See you tomorrow, kids, somewhere, sometime around school time. And we shall be back tomorrow night at 10, Phil.
Yes, care to come in for the ratings meeting followed by a pizza lunch, Bruce?
Oh, I couldn't stand it.
Get to know the staff.
And thank you to our staff.
Yes, Rowena Johnson.
Sophia Johnson. I'm Bruce Mansfield.
And I'm the Flipperoonie.
Oh.
Just call me Dolphin.
Yeah, let's have a look at his feet. Oh, look at those flippers. That's the way she went today.